listening to PJ and Friends on pjandfriends.com. Orlando, Florida.
PJ and Friends is proud to present another edition of their Spotlight interview series. And now, welcome your host, PJ.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PJ and Friends. It's another edition of our Spotlight interview series. Today, we are talking to Mr. Kelly Rands. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Great to be here. Love this series that you've been doing.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate it. I became familiar with you. You are locally, at least in the theater, known for your troupe, the Humor Mill, Humor Mill Orlando. And I've seen a couple of your productions. You've done some things at Fringe here, the Orlando International Fringe Festival. And I think the last thing I saw was, as I was talking to you before we went live, was you did a bit. Your troupe did a show at the Death Comedy Match Matt Moeller was doing here in Orlando.
Correct. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We performed an exhibition for that since we do improvisation, but it's our core is sketch comedy. So Matt suggested that we perform an exhibition, and we did some of our best of show at that time, and it was a great evening, and really enjoyed improving with everybody after we were done too.
Now, one of the purpose behind these series of interviews is to get to know the people in our community. So this is about you. We'll get ultimately about what's going on with you in the area and all that. But where did you get your start? Where were you born and raised?
Well, I was born in Rochester, Michigan, which is a northern suburb of Detroit, probably about 45 minutes outside of that. And I have been a theater person my whole life, pretty much. My mom and dad were involved, particularly my mom, were involved in community theater up in Michigan, which, if you've never heard of community theater as it's done in the Detroit area, it's an amazing thing. You have this, great ability in that town. All these people who are, by day, are doctors and teachers and lawyers and engineers for the car companies, but who still love theater and have a passion for it. So there's a lot of fantastic community theater that goes on there, and my parents were a part of that. I certainly remember just visual things of being young and being passed to somebody holding me off stage so my mom could go on stage. So from a very early age, I've been involved with the theater and had a love for the theater.
And so at what point did you move to Orlando or Florida? Was there other places along the way, or was it from there?
Yeah, actually, to kind of sort of light the scenario of how I ended up down here in Central Florida.
Perfect.
I went to college at Indiana State University in Terre Haute, Indiana. It's about 75 miles outside of Indianapolis. Best known pretty much for being the college that Larry Bird went to. But they have a very good theater department. I have ties to the Terre Haute area. My mom's originally from Terre Haute, Indiana. I have relatives who live there. So as much as it was an 8-hour drive from home, it was still very much a second home to me. So it was a nice combination of factors. And I went there and got my degree in theater with an acting and directing emphasis. And I had always done a little bit of work in improv in high school. I took all of the theater classes and was very involved with theater and improv, but I didn't necessarily know that's what it was. Our teacher, a man by the name of Frank Gowan, who was a real inspiration to me, we would just play things. We're like, okay, guys, you're going to get up and you're going to do this. And we never specifically said, we are doing improv now. It was just about exploring and having fun and enjoying theater in general.
Right.
But I knew, because I had such a love for theater in general, and particularly musical theater, that's sort of what I wanted to do with my life. So I moved to college at Indiana State, and while I was there, my sophomore year, got involved with a brand new group at the time called Condiments Upon Request, and that sort of started my improv career. We were just a bunch of zany college kids that would do anything to make each other laugh. It wasn't necessarily about structure. It wasn't so much about playing games and learning from those games. It was just about making each other laugh and having a good time, and hopefully entertaining other people in the process.
What year? What year was that? The Condiments Upon
That
Request?
I was in 1994 is when we started Condiments Upon Request.
Now, the improv and so forth had not really taken off. I mean, I don't think Whose Line was it on the air or anything like that, because that really brought that to the forefront. How has it changed from then to now? How has the scene changed? Because it's like back then, if you'd said you were an improv troupe or a performer, people might not have understood what that was, and few people probably would have they get the idea that it's the improv like stand up, which I that gets me because stand up is not improv, so I don't understand why it's called it. But there, we'll go a whole other thing there. What's changed though? What do you think has changed in that atmosphere?
There's such a huge awareness of what improv is, and that it's a important part of not only someone's well-rounded, theatricality and their experience of learning, but there's an acceptance for it being a legitimate thing. I remember in college, and in the long run, my college was eventually very supportive of our group, but initially when we started out, we were the rogues of the theater department. We were those crazy guys that are trying to make each other laugh. We actually rehearsed in the communications building instead of in the theater space because they were skeptical about giving us space. so we were just these guys doing something, that was that the theater department didn't take very seriously. So it's actually kind of funny now that next year will be the 20-year anniversary of that group. And I actually checked before we got on just to see that they're still alive and well in Terre Haute, Indiana, and doing shows. I did a show on December 4th. But, it's kind of amazing to think of something that was a bunch of us just messing around is still around after such a long time.
Very cool. Now, you... see, so much changed. Now a lot of theaters are churning out improv, through the classes and stuff like that. It's almost a floodgate of people performing now. Somewhere along the way, you found yourself in Chicago.
Correct. Yeah, after I got out of college, met my wonderful wife, and she had wanted to move to Chicago as well. So she moved to Chicago first, and then when I graduated, I went home to Michigan for a little while, just get some money together, and then moved to Chicago as well. And it was around the time that I was helping my wife, of course at the time future wife, move, that we found out, and I really was enamored with the Second City. And that ended up becoming a large part of my time in Chicago, was being involved with the Second City.
Very cool.
So, so for obviously for people that don't know what the Second City is, it's, just like IO or many other things, it's one of the meccas of improvisation and comedy. I was lucky enough to go back for the 50-year anniversary of the Second City when they celebrated that a couple of years ago, and just amazing the names that have come out of there and where they've gone. But really was such a forefront and forerunner of creating improv and comedy theater in general, that it's amazing what they've done over their time, and it really hit me as this being the culmination of everything that I love to do about theater.
Right.
I started out as, like I said, as a big musical theater nut. For me, always, it's been my voice that has gotten me into shows. I love singing, and so if I look at that, I always have loved sketch comedy. I just didn't know what it was. I grew up being a big fan of Abbott and Costello. Pretty much every Sunday morning I was watching Abbott and Costello. Obviously eventually became a big fan of Whose Line, but groups like Kids in the Hall and The State, now Key and Peele are great, of course Saturday Night Live, but it wasn't really until I started seeing shows at Second City that I went, wow, it's comedy, it's theater, it's improv, it's everything that I love wrapped into one bundle.
See, that's the thing. I every once in a while, I have to remind myself. Like, I've been a fan of like Stiller and Mira. You know, Ben Stiller's. I can't remember his name. Ben Stiller's dad and his mom, and they were one of the very early graduates of Second City, and the alumni that's there is just outstanding. Of course, you know, between Saturday Night Live and Mad TV and all those, they got a lot of their you know, people that they've chosen for over the years from those venues, and so it's been a great training ground for so many people. And it's like nowadays people in the industry refer to, you know, I'm going to, it's like it's like a improv mecca. They go there and they you know, I'm going to Chicago, I'm going to LA to learn. So I think it's become a real big deal to go to Chicago. Now what you do, your troupe here, how'd that come about? When that come about?
Well, my wife and I, when we decided to move down to Central Florida, we always thought that it would be nice to do our own group down here that would do essentially how Second City did their performances and their sketch reviews up in Chicago. We moved down here in 2001, and it took a while to get settled. And we did have, you know, my child Bridget, who will be turning 10 this weekend. But when we first had her, it just wasn't the right time. We didn't want to deal with trying to do rehearsals as well as dealing with a small child or eventually a toddler. But eventually, when she got to be 3 years old, we kind of felt it was the right time. Not necessarily that a 3-year-old can take care of themselves by any means. But, you know, she was starting to become more self-sufficient, and it was easier for one person to watch after her. And so we really hit the right time. And I remember us having a conversation in December of 2003 and saying, hey, I think really now's the time for us to do this and to give this a shot. And Jen, my wife, had said to me, you know, like, well, if we can come up with a good name, that would probably be a good start. So we started looking at names and eventually came up with the Humor Mill Orlando. Had our first audition on February 2nd of 2009, and have been going strong ever since. So it's been a fun time. We're just about to celebrate our 6-year anniversary as a company, and got some great things for the future. It's a good thing, and I know you've talked to some of the other people about this. We're truly blessed in Central Florida as far as the talent here.
The theme parks and all the studios that are here bring a lot of talent here.
Yeah, and also, so, you know, as you talk to a bunch of other people, I've been listening to these and really enjoying this whole series, that the well-rounded performer is a big thing that you get in Central Florida, and that's exactly what we're looking for in our cast and company members. We do sketch comedy, we do musical parodies, we do improvisation, we do what I refer to as sketch prov, where the idea that you're taking these a completed sketch and adding improvisational elements to that completed sketch. So you really have to be that well-rounded performer, and we have always, throughout our 6 years, had incredible talent. That's never been an issue. That if somebody goes off to do something better or something different, we've always found the next great person.
And I'm looking at your page here, the website, thehumormillorlando.com, and I'm looking at the bios here, and you've really got a great cross town of people here. And I've seen your the shows that I've seen, witty, very, very witty. And I, you know, just me. I mean, I'm not as well rounded as a lot of the people that are that perform. But I don't think I've seen anything that I didn't like that you guys did that wasn't very witty. One of the ones that stands out is Dave Vance. Now, he didn't come from. Was he theater originally, or for some reason I thought he was an accountant or something? I don't know.
Yeah. It's funny, all these different people's past,
right?
That, you know, where they got into theater,
their shady past as an accountant.
Yeah, and then they got completely out of theater, and then suddenly they got back in. You know, Dave in particular got back into doing improv, and you know, then got back involved with us, and you know, another one of our company members, Rick Coates. Rick Coates works at Disney, and you know, had an earlier flirt and love with theater and then went away from it and has come back. And, it's just great to have those well-rounded people that have life and have interests of their own, but also have a love for theater. Especially, at this point, we're 6 years into the company, but we're still a blooming company at this point. So, I fully understand that the people that I work with are doing it partially for the love of the art.
Oh yeah,
we're not going to pay people's paychecks, and that's a pretty common thing across the board. But I've always made sure to pay my actors something, so they do get a pay for performances, and just an understanding of the fact that what they do is very important to our group, because it's sketch comedy, especially the way that we do it, is a much longer process than improvisation.
It's funny that you say that because, I'm a member of a couple of troupes here, Powered Improv, Stuff with People, which is the puppet version, and we do auditions every once in a while. We have another thing coming up, hopefully in the next couple of days that we'll be able to announce. But we're going to hopefully have a regular gig, and every once in a while we have to do auditions because for us there's a little bit of a lag between gigs, and so sometimes people fall off and things happen, and but we'll get in the applications or the people saying I'm interested, I'm only interested if I get paid. And I'm like, well, then you're not going to perform. And it's not like we don't want to. It's just more often than not, if you get anything, it's not much. And it's different for you guys, a little bit anyway. Your home theater oftentimes is the Breakthrough Theater, correct?
Yeah, we actually performed at the Breakthrough Theater for the last couple of years, although most recently we actually switched over to the Orlando Shakespeare Theater. We performed our Christmas show there, and still in specific talks with them, but we'll be doing our 2015 season at the Orlando Shakespeare Theater.
Okay. See, I'm always intimidated. Just us as a troupe, we're not big and we don't have lots of money, so I'm always afraid of committing anything to something. I just view them as the Shakespeare Theater is so professional that we probably wouldn't. I guess judging a book by its cover, but I'm always afraid to approach them because it's just we do our own teching and all that. I think there's so many things you got to have with them, which makes sense because it's protection of their equipment. But but the difference between you and other places is you're a ticketed event, and so with us it's we usually get a hotel that hires us or a resort that brings us in, and we do a series of classes or a series of shows, that kind of thing. We do a lot of corporate stuff. But you guys, how do you like that location? I mean, how does it differ from other places that you've played, the Shakes?
Well, it's actually, any of the theatrical locations really work best for us in our format, because really the way that sketch comedy is set up is that it's a very series of short plays, so it has a legitimate theatricality to it, and so when you put it on stage, it's just that much more comfortable in its venue. We've done a number of private shows where we're in banquet rooms or anything like that, or certainly we started out at a place called Hollywood Bistro up in Winter Springs, which is no longer open, but it was very much a dinner theater kind of atmosphere where you're competing. Every line you compete with somebody asking their waiter for water, or sounds of clinking dishes and that kind of stuff. So it's really an ideal place for us to be in a theatrical setting, where especially with the fact that we use a lot of theatrical elements in our show, as far as when you get certain scene parts, using a blackout on a regular basis as a way to get out of the scene.
Right.
So when you don't have that blackout, then you're challenged with the fact of how do we get people to understand that we're moving on.
Right. Right.
So the space works well. We really, we had a great time and a great run with the Breakthrough, and they've been incredible partners. Their one deficiency across the board is just the size of it.
Right.
Their theater. They have a 40-seat theater, and we are now at the point that we're rapidly outgrowing that space. So that's where the Orlando Shakespeare Theater gives us a chance to continue to grow and continue to do more shows in a larger venue.
And that's a good thing, though, about Orlando. We have a lot of theaters I'll say a lot. We have a good fair amount of theater space. You've got Breakthrough, you've got the Venue, you've got Gardens, the Garden Winter Garden Theater. You got the Winter Park Playhouse. So there's a lot of little places around town, and there's a few little black box places that I don't know them all, but so there's a lot of little places that productions can be put on that aren't going to break the bank, and that make it affordable. One of the things I was talking to Beth about was the Performing Arts Center that opened, and I saw an article. I can't remember where it was. I think it was in the Orlando Sentinel. It's a I don't know. It might not be such a blessing because you got this big icon that now people are going to view as this is the center of the theater universe here in Orlando, but they really don't. They're not helping too much with the local theater. It's gonna, so many troupes, so many theaters look for, donation dollars and support and fundraising and so forth. So does a theater like that, and because it can drown out the little guy. Do you think they will have any impact on you and your troupe, in good or bad?
Not immediately. We've actually just sort of tested the waters with them a little bit just to get an understanding of where they're at right now. And their theaters are beautiful, especially the smaller Venue is just an amazing space.
I haven't been over there yet.
It's a little bit too big for us right now. So there's certainly a possibility of it in the future, and I'd love to be in a space like that someday. But that's part of, we look at just the Performing Arts Center as only one option in the city. And, the city obviously is involved in those other opportunities in great spaces in town. And that's, what's the nice thing about the Orlando Shakespeare Theater is right now a 100-seat venue is perfect for us. So we have an opportunity to be in a 100-seat venue at this time. I certainly do get people's concerns about the fact that, right now it's this big, expensive theater, and it's, as much as they have worked hard to have a community outreach, it's difficult for them to necessarily make good on that promise at this point. But I think as time goes by, it's my hope that changes. I know one of the people that's involved and has been involved in the project for a long time, and certainly the hope and wish is there. They would like to become more of the center of the theater, and they all firmly believe in that. But there's also, very difficult things to do if they're fundraising for an additional location, for a third theater space there, and they just spent a whole lot of money. So they've got to think of ways to recoup that and to keep the doors open.
True.
It's certainly my hope that as time goes by, they're willing to be a little bit more flexible and take some chances with groups. But we'll just have to see, how that goes. I thought it was interesting. There's an article recently, that had come out talking about the Performing Arts Center being rated among the top new tourist destinations in the U.S. or in the world. And, that's kind of how I see it, that it was built and it's bringing in these great things that our theater community can go to, but it also is a little bit of a tourist attraction.
But I wonder how they've decided that when it just opened. That's a little bit premature, I think, for it to be a worldwide success when it opened its doors. And
I guess writers have to have something to write
creative
about.
Writing. We need to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. One moment.
Sounds good.
You're listening to PJ and Friends on PJandFriends.com. Orlando, Florida.
Have you ever wanted to ride in a hot air balloon? Well, you can with Orlando Balloon Rides. It's an adventure of a lifetime. Take a ride in a hot air balloon. You will fly with the winds on a truly amazing journey. Explore Florida from the orange groves to the theme parks and more. See it all from a whole new vantage point. Experience total excitement from start to finish. You will ascend above the treetops to several thousand feet. This is an experience of a lifetime. Visit OrlandoBalloonRides.com for more information. That's OrlandoBalloonRides.com. Zoom Air Adventure Park Orlando, ziplining at its best. A Zoom Air Adventure is a great outing for families, friends, or coworkers. This entertaining self-propelled attraction gives both nature lovers and challenge seekers the opportunity to enjoy the thrill of adventure. Feel your adrenaline pump as you conquer abundant treetop challenges, including exhilarating rides on our zipline. Visit zoomair.us for more information. That's zoomair.us.
PJ and Friends has several ways to promote your product, service, club, group, or business. You can sponsor a segment or a whole show. Advertising packages are affordable. We can even barter and exchange for goods and services. We can get you heard. We have live reads, 30 and 60-second commercials. We can do shows live on location. Email us at sales@pjandfriends.com. Also, take a moment to stop by pjandfriends.com. Take a look at our website. Take a look at what's going on there. You're going to see our demographics and who we're hitting. Also, take a look at our previous shows. And take a minute to like us on Facebook. There's a link there to that, so you can follow along what's going on. And now we'll go back to the show. All right. Thank you for your patience with me here.
Of course.
I was thinking, and I've talked about this before, is my first introduction to anything theater related. I was a kid. My parents took us to something, and it was in Fort Lauderdale. And I want to say, I think it was Peter Pan. It was obviously that's one where they do the flying over the it was, the breathtaking and the awe-stopping, the wow factor, and like, not that I wanted to do that kind of stuff, but that interaction, and there was points, and they were looking at you, and you knew at the times you had eye contact, and that wowed me. That I think was my first interaction with anything theater related. And then years later, I've always been a fan of Disney. Even as a kid, I had an annual pass. I had an annual pass since they had annual passes at Disney, and one of my favorite things was the Streetmosphere, before that happened, but the stuff at Epcot. And years later, I found out that was SAC that was doing that. But that other people would go for roller coasters and the rides and the different things, but I would go and I'd look at the book and I'd say, okay, this is the time, and I'd be at these places for these little shows. But I liked it because they were interacting, and you'd get to play back. So that was where I got the bug for it, and I think. The one good thing about improv and theater in any aspect is that there is an element of interaction. And even, for example, for a long time, one of the things I would go do on a regular basis would be the Hoop-de-Doo review at Disney. And while this is a scripted show, there were quite a few times where they went off script, and sometimes by accident, but sometimes. So it was, although it was the same show, it was never the same exact show, and I loved that. I loved that. Every once in a while, if you went, and it was sad that I went so often, but every once in a while they would bring something new in, and of course, if you hadn't been there, you wouldn't. So it was kind of like an inside secret kind of thing. It was like, oh wow, they didn't do this last time. This is great. So when I see. And I want to say, I think the show you guys did at was, I think, your theme park montage. I want to say, I think it was the one you did at, and it was really funny, very good, and the interaction was great. You have a great core group of people. How often do you guys you workshop? How often do you rehearse and workshop and practice what you do?
Yeah, it's actually really a constant for the group that, except for taking a few breaks, we are working all year round. We rehearse twice a week, so we rehearse 3 hours on Monday and Thursday nights. Of course, that can change from one week to the other, so it's about 6 hours a week that we work together. And because of the nature of how we create, particularly our sketch comedy, it takes a long time, and certainly bringing some of the theatricalities of things like that theme park montage, that took probably 3 months to put together. And the writing before that, which that particular piece is written both by myself as well as my sister Tanya, who still lives up in Detroit and has written a lot of our musical parodies for us. That process was 1.5 to 2 years of writing that parody. So it certainly can take a long time, and that's part of what I enjoy about it, doing the comedy the way that we do it, is that you can, in improv, you could have that something wonderful right away, to quote the book, in sketch comedy, you can have something wonderful right away or something wonderful in 4.5 years. And the challenge of those different scenes, of finding how a scene works. There's one of the scenes that we did from our last show, a scene called Freezer. My original cast members that I worked with 6 years ago will remember that scene because it was originally created by those original cast members. We set that scene aside because we just couldn't find the hook for it. And so we pulled that out. I pulled it out a couple of times, and finally, after 5 years, we found an effective hook for that scene. And next thing you know, that scene's in our show that we did last July. So you can really have a scene that comes to you in 10 minutes, or you can have a scene that comes to you in 5 years. And those are still fun processes of figuring out how a scene works and how you can make that scene better.
How important is continuing education with regards to theater and what you do? And the reason I ask that is I'm more of the improv side of things, while SAC has shifted the point of view from being an improviser, from being an actor who improvises, because I think that's an important distinction because, as we mentioned, a well-rounded performer, the triple threat is always more valuable, and they have more tools to pull out of their hat that help make things more entertaining and valid. There they constantly bring in different people, whether it be from around the country or they put on different workshops, or they have conservatories and so on to help us get better and to learn and to move forward. And how important with your side of things is that other than just workshops, is continuing education important?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very important. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for SAC. I think they do an amazing job. And it's certainly our hope to be on par with the offerings that SAC offers in 10 to 15 years. And I think we'd have that opportunity to, not only work in a parallel world, but work alongside with them. But they do wonderful things. I love the people that are running the ship right now, and have a huge respect for them. For us in the sketch comedy world, a lot about it is keeping yourself educated, not only on various aspects of how to be effective at comedy, but also about the world around you. The best sketch comedy groups are the ones that really are in the now and understand not only the current situations, but can talk eloquently about the past. That if you get that suggestion, or if you get that idea for a scene that is based in something that happened 10 or 15 years ago, you're not sitting there going, I know one thing about this situation. And so really making sure that you're educated, and I fully suggest to my cast all the time that they read newspapers, if you can actually get your hands on a newspaper these days, or make sure that you're looking at news online, and make sure too that you watch a different point of view than yours. I am somebody that I would be considered basically a progressive, very liberal throughout all my thoughts. But it doesn't mean that I don't ever watch Fox News. And I think it's important to understand who they are and where they're coming from in order to be a well-rounded performer and well-rounded improviser. You can't just stick with your opinion. You have to understand everyone else's opinion as well.
Very true.
And we haven't had a lot of people come in to work directly with us, but I always try to workshop the groups as much as I can, especially during the quiet times, to work on specific things that they can get better at. This current cast I've been very blessed with. I have two of my cast members. One passed her 3-year anniversary in December, Kristen Char. Aileen Fusik is about to pass her 3-year anniversary. And some of our other members have been with us, 2 and 3 years up to 1 year. So we're really able to continue their growth as well. And that's a big thing for me, is to make sure that they continue to work on things. And the fact that you never are there. Once you feel in life or in theater or in improv that you've arrived, that you have nothing else to learn, it's time to leave, because somebody else needs to teach you something.
Right. No, I agree there. And that's one of the wonderful things. We get spoiled with the improv festivals that are around Florida. We have so many of them, but they bring in such talent from other places. And one of the wonderful benefits is that these other places bring in workshops from their area and whatever it is they're focusing on, they're teaching at the moment, and we get a chance to it's kind of like traveling without traveling, because you get to take these Chicago classes and these LA classes and workshops from people from all over the U.S. And so it's a wonderful thing for us. Anybody can do it, but it tends to be people in the industry seem to know more than others that these things are going on. But it's always a fun thing to take someone else's workshop and see how they're. And it's always amazing to me when we have younger performers that and I'm sure I did it too, where they'll play a game or some set that we do, and we have it called one name and it's called another name elsewhere, but it's the same game, and they can't get around the fact that it might have more than one name, and I love that when they get there. It says here, when not creating comedy magic, you work at the Golf Channel in Orlando, and you spend spare time with your wonderful wife and daughter. Do you have a lot of spare time?
No, I always call it my copious free time, as it were. But it's amazing that I have such a supportive family around me in order to do all these things. To tell you a little about my other life, I'm a production manager for Golf Channel. I've been a production manager for Golf Channel. It was 6 years now.
Do you play golf?
And I work on the road 3 months a year. I actually go to the golf tournaments and the lead manager in charge of everybody that's there, and all of the logistics and the hotels and the airlines and all that kind of stuff. And it's a wonderful, fun, challenging job, but a lot of great experience. I've always loved traveling, so this gives me the opportunity to travel. And it is one of the things that I have to be very careful with, and I'm really proud of this current group that I have, is that with being on the road for 3 months, I still have to have a hand in this year-round project that is the Humor Mill Orlando. Right. So I've directed a number of rehearsals this year from Skype. That they always joke about the big head that's on the TV watching them. So it's kind of the Charlie's Angels principle, I guess, if Charlie was on video instead of being on a tape recorder, that I'm in, Portland, Oregon, or San Francisco, or who knows where. I'll be headed to the Bahamas in a couple of weeks, but still running the rehearsals from there. And it's a different challenge, but my cast has been wonderful with it. Even some rehearsals where I can't make it, they continue to work and continue to do great things. But yeah, I always loved golf. I love working in TV production, and ultimately it allows me to do the Humor Mill. It's the 9-to-5 job, as it were, that allows me to have this creativity and to have this creative outlet, and to have a good life for my family. So it's a wonderful job, and it gets very busy for me, especially with not only the Humor Mill, but certainly other groups that I'm involved with. I sing in choir and that kind of stuff. So I don't have a lot of free time, but I try to make the best of the free time that I have.
Now, your daughter performs, does she not? Because I remember seeing posts from you. What does she do?
She is a dancer, and she is in her dance company, which is kind of cool to see, because that's probably one of the things that most people don't know about me is I grew up as a dancer as well. I remember from when I was young, both of my older sisters took dance, and I remember my mom sort of watching me at the dance studio, and I can imagine myself tapping my toes to some of the music and that kind of stuff. And I think my mom was just like, "Do you want to take dance too?" And I have, been blessed with these incredible, strong women throughout my life, including my fantastic mom and my 2 older sisters. And I didn't see anything weird about the fact that a boy could take dance. So, and really there isn't anything weird about it. And I actually still love to tap dance. I cut a mean rug in my kitchen when I had a chance. And but I took 10 years of tap, 6 years of jazz, got into college and took ballroom. I taught ballroom as a part of college. And so it's really fun to see my daughter be involved in that and to be loving it as much as she is. She is on the dance competition team and rehearsing courses and performs about 10 hours a week. So she's very serious about it. But she also loves the humor mill, loves the people in it.
Wait, back up. Most of the people.
Yep. I know you're saying to yourself, "Wait a second."
No. I'm not what I know. I'm with you. I get it, but I can't let that go.
No,
I don't want to cause. Funny. I don't want to be the one at the end of the day. You have this conversation with me, and then tonight, humor mill's no more because someone's not liked.
No. No. My daughter's like fantastic, and she has loved the group because for quite a while we rehearsed actually at her home. So she was around us while we were creating things, and she actually was in our latest show that we did in December.
Did she get paid?
She did.
Slave labor, man. There's labor laws.
I know. But no, I made a deal with her, and she worked very hard in school. I had made a deal with her that if she got straight A's for an entire semester, then
you'd put her to work.
Would be in a show, yeah.
Okay.
So she did it. She nailed it, and we found a part for her in the show. And she had a fun walk-on opportunity. And
so, are you like a parent? You're like a pageant dad when she dances. Like one of those, baby doll parents where they're in makeup and all this. You're not like get on the floor and dance.
No, I cannot stand that show. It's like watching a train wreck, and I just can't watch that kind of
movie.
Train
Fame,
wreck.
You Will Dance will make you sweat. Those of us that know what that means.
But no, I'm always very supportive of her, and she has been one of those people that from an early age she just loves to dance, and so I have let her and support her, and enjoy the fact that I've had a previous dance life, and so it's kind of fun to see that passed on to her. And who knows what she'll do with it. And, she's going to be 10 on Sunday, so she may go to great things. She may decide to do something else. I know in her heart she firmly wants to be a member of the Humor Mill Orlando someday. And, maybe she'll get her shot in, 7 or 8 years if she feels like she wants to.
Very cool. You've traveled with the Golf Channel. What kinds of places have you traveled to? And what's like the most exotic place you've been to?
Well, it's funny because we always make jokes about because the year starts out in Hawaii, and every year it's like, hey, am I going to go to Hawaii? No, you're not going to go to Hawaii. But I still have been to great places, primarily around the U.S., but I've become recently sort of the international guy. Like I said, I'm going to Bahamas next 2 weeks. But probably the coolest place I've been to was Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Really?
I'll be going back there again. Yeah, it's just a beautiful area. It's they have there's a web.com tour, which is sort of the second layer of professional men's golfing. They have a tournament that's up there, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. You're right on the ocean. The lobster is cheap and plentiful, but these people just have that kind of Irish seafaring spirit, so they're all crazy people to talk to and a lot of fun. And we went and actually saw some stand-up while we were there. So it's a pretty artsy community at the same time, but just a beautiful place.
So if North Korea had a golf tournament, would you have to go?
It depends.
Or would that be your assistant could go to that one? You go to Hawaii, your assistant gets to go.
There you go. Yeah. Or one of the other people can go there. But we sent people all around the globe to China, South Korea, Japan, Australia, New Zealand. You name it. Pretty much, if there's a golf course. I know a bunch of people in South Africa.
So when you travel like that, I mean, especially in different countries, you're dealing with different cultures. How does that affect what you do?
Yeah, it's always a big part of things, and I find myself actually using my improvisational background in my day-to-day work, because you're dealing with either situations that you don't know how things are going to come out, or you don't want to offend anybody, or you're dealing with a culture that's different than yours. So
right.
You really have to be flexible with that. But it's given me some opportunity to grow, to really learn more about different cultures and to take back that and bring those suggestions and those ideas back to the humor mill.
So of the places that you visited, so your favorite is the Nova Scotia location, or do you have a favorite?
Yeah, that's probably my favorite international one that I've been to. I love traveling to San Francisco, which I've done multiple tournaments in the San Francisco area. Strangely enough, I have not done a tournament in Chicago yet, but that's definitely big on my list. I'd love to come back there and do a tournament sometime. It was a real joy last year to do a golf tournament in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is on the other side of the state, but it's still cool to get to come back to my home state and get to actually, be involved with a tournament happening in my home state. And but you find different things about each area. I never thought that I would enjoy traveling to Mobile, Alabama, like I did last year, or Biloxi Gulfport, or sometimes the smaller cities are really fun and cool, because if you go and you do a golf tournament in San Francisco, you're a part of a much bigger scene in a bigger world. There's so much going on in San Francisco. But when you go to Mobile, Alabama, and you're at a golf tournament, everybody in that town knows what's going on and knows, if you have a Golf Channel logo on your clothes, they know what you're there for. So it actually can make the week a lot of fun, because
I think it would be funny if you took that big truck that's over there at the Golf Channel. People know in Orlando you can't miss that big satellite truck that's over there every once in a while, and pull up to like a miniature golf place. And have the whole crew get out and act like you're going to do. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
So now, let me ask you, does that truck go everywhere? I mean, or do you have to get like a local truck? I guess you can't drive that to Hawaii, but...
actually, they get them to Hawaii. There's a company that we work with called NEP, which is based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they provide all of our trucks for us. And it's a moving city. I mean, literally, we have 2 office trailers. We have anywhere from 3 to 4 production trucks. We have a booth that travels with us, so it's a major thing. You've got 80 to 90 up to, even for the biggest events, 120, 130 people creating a village for a week that is very vibrant and very busy, and then a week later is gone.
You're not like the Secret Service, are you? You guys aren't doing things you shouldn't be doing in other countries while the president's in town, are you?
No, not at all.
Not that you'll admit. No, I get it. No.
Our parent company is NBC, so we're very, very on the up and up. And, of course, their parent company is Comcast, so more so on the up and up.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So if I see that truck somewhere, I should just wave and it's you, right?
Yeah, it may not necessarily be me, but I certainly know the people that are moving the production trucks and the satellite vehicles around the country.
Okay, we're going to take another break, and then we'll come back and we'll finish this up. One moment.
Okay.
You're listening to PJ and Friends on PJandFriends.com. Orlando, Florida.
Zoom Air Adventure Park Orlando, ziplining at its best. A Zoom Air Adventure is a great outing for families, friends, or coworkers. This entertaining self-propelled attraction gives both nature lovers and challenge seekers the opportunity to enjoy the thrill of adventure. Feel your adrenaline pump as you conquer abundant treetop challenges, including exhilarating rides on our zipline. Visit zoomair.us for more information. That's zoomair.us. Have you ever wanted to ride in a hot air balloon? Well, you can with Orlando Balloon Rides. It's an adventure of a lifetime. Take a ride in a hot air balloon. You will fly with the winds on a truly amazing journey. Explore Florida from the orange groves to the theme parks and more. See it all from a whole new vantage point. Experience total excitement from start to finish. You will ascend above the treetops to several thousand feet. This is an experience of a lifetime. Visit OrlandoBalloonRides.com for more information. That's OrlandoBalloonRides.com.
PJ and Friends has several ways to promote your product, service, club, group, or business. You can sponsor a segment or a whole show. Advertising packages are affordable. We can even barter in exchange for goods and services. Want to come over, mow my lawn? That'd be a thing. Walk my dogs, give my dogs a haircut, cut their nails. That's great. We can work something out. We can get you heard. We have live reads, which this is. 30 and 60-second commercials. We can do shows live on location. And if you want, email us at sales@pjandfriends.com for more information. Hey, take a minute, though, to go to our website, check out our demographics and stuff and marketing area. Also, check out other shows. We have our show history there as well. And then take a minute to like us on Facebook. There's a link for that, too. Let's do this. Go back. So how you
mow your lawn? That sounds fun.
You mow my lawn? Well, no, you you guys get free commercials. You just got to give me the information. I don't have time to get it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's a couple of questions here. So I made a mistake a couple weeks ago, and I asked somebody who was a vegetarian if so you mentioned lobster, so I assume you eat meat, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
I'm a carnivore.
Okay, so when ordering a steak, is it rare, medium rare, or well done for you?
Ooh, it depends a little bit on the type of steak, but I would go medium to medium rare.
Okay, good. Now they offer you a potato. Is it baked potato, mashed potato, or fries?
Ooh, if I'm doing the very steaky kind of thing, I would go with a baked potato.
Good job.
Ideally with sour cream on it. But the others have their place, but I think, very traditional.
I agree. I think that's a good, and that is the correct answer. Just so you know, there are correct answers, and other people have gotten this so wrong. Okay, okay. Now this is a geek check. Okay,
right.
When watching cartoons or reading anything or anything, do you like DC or Marvel?
Ooh, good question. I am going to admit I'm not that big of a comic book person.
See, you're the fourth person to say that. Now, all the people I thought would be you. I because of what you do for a living, I expect you're at home in an easy chair with a pipe and a jacket. So I would not expect you.
I am in kind of an easy chair right now, so you're pretty close. I don't have a pipe and a jacket.
I picture you watching, PBS or something, Downton Abbey.
I would say if I lean towards one, I'm a little more of a Marvel person than a DC Comics, but at the same time, I like them both.
All right, and this is along the same lines. And again, I'm prejudged you. So, Star Trek, Captain Kirk or Captain Picard?
Ooh, boy, that's one of my favorite shows. So,
okay, you redeemed yourself.
So they are both fantastic. I personally, just knowing the other things that he has done, am a Picard fan.
Okay, okay, that's cool.
But they're both great. And some of you talk about how you get comedy from unusual sources. The trouble with Tribble's episode is just brilliant. Since it's not it wasn't what they did, but they did such a great job of it. I love those kind of ones where you're able to work in silly premises.
It would have been cool to have been an actor in the original series when that happened, because when they redid it and they revisited it in the newer series, they now had to pay those same actors what they had to renegotiate the contract to pay them to reuse that material, because they used some material from the original series. And I would love to have been Dick Van Dyke, when they did Saving Mr. Banks. Or Julie Andrews, because they did. I know they only used like seconds of them, but they had to get paid current rates, and they didn't do anything but perform and hear their voice.
I always joke that you don't need a great career. You need one great thing that everybody wants to keep watching.
That's true. Look at
as long as people keep watching and the residual checks keep coming in, then
unless it winds up on YouTube and you don't get paid.
True.
All right, you are 12. What kind of music? Name 3 bands you might have been listening to when you were 12.
Oh, 12. Let's see. That would have been, I think, late 80s, early 90s. I was huge into REM. I still love REM. I loved all the one-hit wonders of 80s music.
Sinead O'Connor?
Duran.
They weren't one-hit wonders.
No, they weren't, but I'm just sort of thinking of bands that I remember.
Okay.
Club Nouveau did Lean on Me, was great. So yeah, there are all kinds of 80s music. I love oldies music too. I'm kind of weird. There's a great oldie station in town in Detroit that I grew up listening to through most of high school. So Otis Redding, Dock of the Bay, those kind of things. So they're very.
When I was a kid, real little, and we were living in Freehold, New Jersey, and I was born late. In other words, I was born like in November. So everybody else got to go to school a little early. The kids that were my age but were born before a certain point could go to class. So I was always a year behind my friends because all the friends that I had were born where they could go to school. So like there was a period of time where they were in school and I was home by myself because I wasn't quite the age yet. And so I'd get up in the morning and my mom would be listening to John Denver and Otis Redding, and that would be on the radio. And I remember the very first record I ever bought, she took me to the record store. It was a 45, and it was Billy Don't Be a Hero. And she had me walk up to the counter. She was standing behind me, and I had to say it 3 times because I couldn't get it out. I was too afraid to talk to the guy. So there you go. What is on your playlist today? What do you like to listen to today?
Today, again, I'm still just as varied. I love still listening to musical theater. Was just re-listening to the Book of Mormon recently. But I still, let's see, stuff I listened to yesterday. I listened to REM, Presidents of the USA, which, if you remember, they were big in the 90s, but still continue to put out stuff, fun things. 10,000 Maniacs, even a little bit of Barry Manilow. I grew up loving Barry Manilow. So
and that's the thing. Isn't that bad? I mean, but Barry Manilow had a lot of good hits, and for a long time, it was like bad. It was like, for whatever reason, unpopular to listen to him. But I like his music.
Yeah, he writes the songs.
He does write the songs. Who was another one? Yeah. Devo, and again, the only one hit I remember is "Whip It," and of course that's one of Sax's opening theme songs. But when I was a kid, I almost got beat up for liking them. I don't know why, but I almost got beat up for liking them. So I said, "No, I hate them." No.
Yeah. And nowadays too, it's just I've always liked good songwriters. If you're a good songwriter, you're interesting to me. That if you can, that's one thing that somebody just singing some random music is supposed to somebody really put some thought and time into what they're singing. So
that's another good thing about living in Orlando, because Disney has several times a year where they have the Garden Festival, then they have the Food and Wine Festival, and each time they have concerts there. They have a series of concerts over the period of time that they're there. This year, and they had some people that I thought for sure were going to suck because they're old. I saw Night Ranger, outstanding. I saw, good Lord, he sang "Caribbean Queen." What the hell's his name?
Billy Ocean.
Billy Ocean. Saw him.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of people. I saw Dennis DeYoung from Styx. Now here's the thing: he sounded awesome, but he was but he's like this decrepit old looking guy. And there's this old man on stage doing air guitar. He sounds awesome. The music is great, and he's belting out the tunes, and he sounded just like he did. But if he just sat still, he just looked spastic.
Yeah.
But
what happened?
No, but you know what? Here's the thing. But he had the audience. It sounded wonderful. I saw some video clips of. I'm a big. Oh, good Lord, my memory's going. Let's see. He sang this song from Arthur. What's his name? Let me see here. Let me see here. No, I can't think of it. Anyway, he sang this thing from Arthur, and he was up there. He sounded awesome too. Anyway, a lot of these people, we get a lot of good concerts here. For a long time, like during the Flower Festival, they would have Davy Jones from the Monkees, and he would do a lot of things. Of course, he's passed away, so now Mickey Dolenz comes in and does it. But you get the Byrds and you get all those people, so it's kind of cool that we live here because we get so many wonderful things going on, music-wise.
Yeah. And I grew up being a big Herman's Hermits fan and
yes,
Their Noon.
They come. Yeah.
You're like sitting there going, I know all these songs, and I feel a little old, but I don't care.
And I don't want to listen to new stuff. Like Night Ranger. And here's the thing: what Night Ranger did, I went back a couple of times because the first time I went with somebody else, and they drove. And I wanted to stay to all 3 sets. And they're like 45-minute sets, and then there's a half hour between sets. So you have to get back in line to go back in. And so it was going to be an all-night deal. And what they basically did was their whole concert, but it was broken up in 45-minute segments.
Sure.
And they introduced a couple new songs. And I'm like, I don't want to hear anything new. I just want to. But the one thing I did have to say is in each set, they had to do Sister Christian. So I heard Sister Christian 9 times in 3 days. And I don't know how they did it not go crazy. And I'm sure they've sung that thing thousands and hundreds of millions of times. But that was awesome stuff. That really, really good. I have one more question. And I'm going to tell you, I am going to be very honest with you. I've been disappointed with the politically correct answers I've been getting with this one. So I'm hoping you'll break the mold here. You're stuck on an island. What one item and one person would you have with you?
Ooh, the item that I would bring with me is actually complete works of William Shakespeare.
Okay.
Just because.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Well, you'll understand a little bit about me if you understand the thing. I have never had the time to really understand Shakespeare.
Okay.
I look at it and just kind of go, I know it's brilliant. I know it's so full of things. If I was stuck on an island, maybe I would actually have the time to figure it out. My wife's a brilliant actress in that regard, and she's great at it. And I struggled through it all through college, trying to learn Shakespeare and to do Shakespearean monologues and understand what it is. I still love seeing it performed,
right.
But it would be the one chance in my life to finally go, well, I'm here for 4 years. Hey, I kind of understand what that's about and what they're talking about.
Right.
So that's probably what I would do. As far as the person, I would probably try to actually bring somebody who already knew improv, so that at least we could keep each other company. They'd probably be really pissed at me. They're like, "You jerk! You left me on a desert island. What the heck's your problem?" And I'm like, I'm really sorry, Ryan Stiles, but we got a lot to talk about, or Colin Mockery, or any of those great guys. I would probably be totally sick
I
of
love
each
your
other.
answers.
We're not going to do the sketch about sand again, Kelly. I don't care what you say. We're not going to do it.
No, but I love your answers because so far I've gotten everybody's going with their girlfriend or their wife. And like, okay, you're afraid you've done something wrong today, or you wouldn't be doing that. And other people brought a knife or something for fire because they got to either eat or they got to stay warm. You don't care if you're warm or you eat. And I'm glad you didn't pick. Although I understand people picking their family members, I genuinely liked your answers. Thank you for breaking the mold because so far the mold.
There you go. Well, I'm nothing, but it's not different.
All right. We are coming up on the end of our segment here. Now, the humormillorlando.com. We'll make sure people visit that to see what's going on with you guys and also follow you guys on Facebook. What have you guys got coming up soon? Your anniversary is coming up in February.
Correct. Yeah. Now, I'm actually going to be out of town during your anniversary, so we're not doing any
party at your house.
Anniversary this time. Yeah. But we're actually, going to be for the first time ever as a group doing a complete season, or what we call as a complete season. So we are creating our new show for June of this year. And then we're going to be doing a best of show in September, followed by another holiday show in December. So mix that all together with, doing other stuff for the around the community, as well as we do a lot of private events. Everything from small meetings up to, we did the Bausch & Lomb National Convention. So we certainly do a lot of work with that that normal people wouldn't get to see. But the next time to see us do something really big is going to be in June with our brand new show.
Very cool. Maybe, I know you're very busy, so this is probably going to be difficult to happen, but we should see if get a couple of your cast members on and see if one of two of your little bits there will translate to radio or webcast.
I would absolutely love that. But actually, this is the perfect day to do this too, just because even though I do have a busy job, I work from home on Fridays, so it actually was nice to do this today and to not be worried about time at all. So
we won't let people at the office know that you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing. We won't let anybody know. No one will ever hear this, so they won't know that you're not doing. So I'm glad you're working, and thank you for helping me with my swing.
Of course. Yep. Just remember to be the ball.
Be the
If
ball.
you be
Yes,
the ball,
yes.
then everything else will definitely come into play.
Yes, and I will review the footage from Caddyshack as you suggested.
Yes, exactly.
I want to thank you so much for your time. And is there anything else you want to say before we call it a day?
No, it's been a pleasure. Just a shout out to all of my Humor Mill family. We're, a dysfunctional family, but a great family. And
do you have a favorite? Who's your favorite? Who's your
Oh,
favorite?
geez. No, really, to be honest with you, I don't have a favorite.
You hate them all. I love it.
No, I love them all. Actually, they're great. And
no, you can't back up now. You don't have any favorites. Come on. All right.
No, there's people probably that I really could not name favorites because I love each one of them and what they bring to the table because they all bring something different.
I'm sure. I know. I've got to see them perform. So that's a wonderful thing. So keep your eyes out for these guys, and when they're performing, please make sure you go. Are you guys in Fringe this year? No, huh?
We are not. For the second year in a row, we were the last group picked, which is just an amazing feat.
Well,
it's one thing to be the very last group picked in 1 year, but Mike Marinaccio had said he'd never seen anybody picked absolutely last 2 years in a row.
Didn't they have a bunch of fallouts last year where they had suddenly like last minute openings? I mean, but that's never good when you can't really put a show together that quick if that happens.
Yeah, we have a little bit of advantage to the fact that we're always sort of putting a show together in a way, so it would be a possibility, and I've still got us on the wait list.
You can dust something off, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. But the nice thing about actually not being involved with Fringe the last couple of years is it's challenged us to exist outside of Fringe. So that we aren't defined by it. We're developing, a new audience and a new chance to grow and new opportunities. So it actually, has been a great challenge for us to do that. As much as I love being a part of the festival and would definitely do it again if we got in.
Very cool. Well, thank you again for your time. You have a wonderful day, and spend some of that spare time with your family. They deserve it.
Yeah. Exactly.
All
yep.
right. Thank you very much. You have a good day.
You bet. You too. Thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is PJ and Friends interview series with Kelly Rands. Thank you for your time, buddy. Please make sure you stop by pjandfriends.com. Check us out. Check out previous shows and other episodes and things like that. And also take a moment to like us on Facebook because we need to be liked. We're lonely people. It's just me here in my room broadcasting. Are you out there, people? Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, everybody else, for participating. We've got a couple more interviews coming up. I've got to schedule more. I'm so behind. You guys have a great afternoon. Bye-bye now.
You're listening to PJ and Friends.